Hello, everybody. Good day to you. Welcome to the start of our vaal race meeting. We've got the full racing welcomes you maiden plate over 1450 meters is the start of the day, and we're out at the Vaal Classic track. Daryl Marie and I are on telephone today. We're on mobile talking to one another to get through it, and 8 Pontiac tops the boards in the opener at 9 to 10 ahead of the horse Viva de Janeiro, who prices up at 22 to 10. So Janssen van Vieren does certainly hold the aces here. Daryl, in the opener of the bipod.
Yes, Clyde. Pontiac does look like the right one. Yeah. I mean, he's had two solid efforts to date. In my opinion, he showed good improvement in his second start because on debut, that wasn't the strongest form line. So I do believe he built on his first efforts. He's well drawn in Storgate number 2. He should get the run of the race. Hopefully, he can just slot in behind Muzi Yeni on Archimedes. And if everything goes his way, I expect him to win in his third outing. Now, there is some form line over here, Clyde, collateral form line. If you use fully automatics, you'd actually say number 9, Viva de Janeiro, is the right one. But he's drawn a little bit wide, and this race is around the bend. I don't think there'll be much separating them at the line, but I'm leaning towards number 8, Pontiac, and I do believe he is a bipod banker.
Okay, well, let's get Pontiac's up there. We're bankering it in the bipod. Let's take a look at Daryl Marie. I think we've got 2 bipods we're going to look at here. So we'll start with Daryl, where he goes in the first leg and does, of course, banker in the opening leg of the bipod, number 8, Pontiac. Then he's bankering the 10 in the second leg. Then he's going in the third leg with 3 and 4. Then 1 and 3. Then 2, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then 1, 2, 4, and 7. That's Daryl Marie's bipod. We'll start up our day with that play and see how that all works out. That costs you around 80 Rand. Darren Burrows on the same page. He's bankering the 8 Pontiac in the first leg as well. He's got a banker for us later on in race number 4. His banker is number 1 in their quantifier with a few horses thereafter. And Darren Burrows' bipod works out to 72 Rand. On to race number 2 now of 1450 meters, and number 10, Katira, is the favorite, priced up at 11 to 10. 1 Spirit Princess is the second choice at 19 to 10 at the moment. And then you can get around 6 or 7 to 1 about Mia Fiore. After that, you can get double figures. So they're making it a 3-horse race to a certain extent. But I guess at the moment, those that are dominating are both the Azzy stable and the Terry stable here, Daryl. Which way are you going?
Well, Clyde, you saw in my bipods, I'm bankering number 10, Katira. I'm also bankering her in the PA. Now, I know racing isn't this easy, but strictly on a line through Dakota Cat, she should have the beating of number 1, Spirit Princess. Now, I'll just tell you why. Platina Princess beat Dakota Cat by a length. That means Dakota Cat would have beaten Spirit Princess by 5 lengths. Dakota Cat only beat Katira by 3 3/4 lengths, and now Katira's got 2.5 kgs off her back. But racing doesn't work that way, Clyde. What I like about Katira is on debut, the fillies that all finished ahead of her all had racing experience. And I don't believe that was a bad debut whatsoever. So she must have a lot to come. I do believe what could be against her is the inexperience. So I'm just hoping she can finish in the top 2. Spirit Princess, fair effort last time out. She was well beaten, but Pierre Stradom obviously sticks with her. Mia Fiore, she appears to be her own worst enemy because she's a temperamental sort, and it seems to be getting the better of her at the Pansy especially. So if she just behaves herself, I can see her featuring. And the filly that I think should run into the money, Clyde, is number 5, Paradise Flower. I watched her when she made her comeback run after a rest. She was extremely keen on the way down to the start. Last time out, she was in a work rider event, and races, especially like this, Clyde, I think luck in running plays a huge factor in determining the outcome of the event. So I think she'll get a lot in her favor from a neat draw, and I'd certainly play swingers and trifectas around number 5, Paradise Flower.
Okay, let's get our bets up for the race. We've heard what you like. Race number 2. So Katira is the plan. Priced up 11 to 10. This is what the place accumulator. Now, it looks like from Darren Burrows' side, he's looking to cover up with Katira. He does appear to have the one spirit princess, some respect for her. So he's got quite a few going in his place accumulator that's on the screen at the moment. There's Daryl Marie, as you heard. He's banking Katira. He'll take his chances with her in the opening leg of his place accumulator. And that's a 216 Rand per. On to the third race. It is pick 6 time now. Let's get straight into that action. The 2,000 meters where number 3, Broadlands bookmakers have got priced up in the red, Daryl. The source is a short to 7 to 10. Is that about right?
I don't believe it's right, Clyde. I'll tell you why. Now, Clyde, have a look at number 3, Broadlands, and number 4, Queen Britannia. They've met twice in the past, if I'm not mistaken. The first time they met was behind Prime Example on the 19th of January. Broadlands beat Queen Britannia by a neck. Okay, so it was 1-0 to Broadlands. Then they met behind Wild Forever, Clyde. And Queen Britannia beat Broadlands by what distance? 3/4 of a length, right? So it's 1 each.
Yeah. No.
So now you have to look at Queen Britannia. No disrespect to Mr. Nathan Klink, Thomas Nkume, and Donald Geertsen, but one would certainly say it's a jockey up to Pierre Straydon. Last time out, Queen Britannia contested a handicap against winners. She's back in maiden class and she's got Pierre Straydon. So I'm just saying at 7 to 1, she certainly represents more value than the current price of the favorite. I'm not saying the favorite's isn't my first choice. She is, because I thought she settled beautifully with the blinkers last time out and she was doing her best work late. So I make her the filly to beat, but I really believe the value lies with number 4, Queen Britannia.
Okay, well, you make a good point based on that sort of form. They have bumped before. There's form that indicates that she's not necessarily a 7 to 10 shot. And as you say, Pierre Stratum's now picked up the ride on this horse. He's been guarded to ride Queen Britannia, so there's respect for her. All right, well, then it's a pick 6, and it's normally Darren Burrows that works it out for us. Let's see what he's thinking here. And he's going with, in the first leg, 1, 3, and 4. So he's also picked up what you've picked up on. And interestingly enough, his banker comes up a little bit later on in race number 4. In his pick 6, he's banking Quantify. He's making that the horse as the play of the day. And there's all these numbers. Take them down. Let's get some money as we build up into the World Sports Betting Finale Championships this weekend. Let's get on to Quantify. I've been talking about this because Darren Burrows is quite big on Gareth Van Zyl's horse here. Andile Mafudle is going to be riding. And this is a maiden class field that's going over 2,000 meters, this particular distance. And Quantify has been 2,000 meters. That last start behind Positive Attitude was a good one. The two of them got well clear of the rest of the field. At one stage, it looked like Quantify was going to get the upper hand, but Positive Attitude was just too good, Daryl.
Yes, Clyde, he gave that winner a lot of cheek, and he just laid down that final 50 where Positive Attitude started to extend. Now, Clyde, we all know that Positive Attitude has subsequently run again, and he won. And I don't know if you listened to that post-race interview with Joe Soma. He was talking about the Gold Bowl and the Gold Cup for Positive Attitude. That's how highly he rates him. So that has to give you a little bit of a spring in your step if you fancy Quantifier. On form lines, he holds Man's Night on the Breeze Overrun. He holds Wonder World on the Positive Attitude run. So a lot is in his favor. He's having his third run on the half-out. And we know Gareth and Gavin are certainly holding their form up here on the half-out. Their horses are really doing well. But Clyde, I have to trust my eye and say number 3 of here, who Joe Soma will have a line with, is a huge, huge runner. I watched his latest replay. He's got such a beautiful stride on him, and it had to be cramped and eased twice in that race. So I'm saying he would have gone very close to winning if Samunga didn't have to ease twice in that race. I just look at his profile and I'll say this horse has been primed for a race like this. There's a lot in his favor, and I think he's much better than what his form reflects to date. So 1 and 3 to fight it out, Claude.
Okay, so you got a line there with Sword of Mercy and a Positive Attitude, of course, both being from the same stable. Joe Soma's stable's in good form, and Gareth Van Zyl's having a great run here too. So interesting. All right, jackpots, what we doing? We know Darren's big on Quantifier. Darryl's got the utmost respect now for Sword of Mercy. And then horses in jackpot 1. That's our plan in the first leg of the first jackpot. Okay, let's move on to race number 5 now. Give an idea as to what the market is indicating. Number 7, Latulu tops the boards at 3-1. 8, Royal Mazarin is 7-2. 1, Breeze Over is at 9-2. 2, Jet Dynasty is 9-2. 6, Mambo Camtesio is trading at around 8-1. Give that a bit of a chance today, to be honest. And 10-1 and better about the others. So that's the look at this race over 2,000 meters, Daryl. Race 5, not easy. It's a handicap. It's at the 74. And I guess it's one of those races where, you know, if there's a surprise result, it's not a surprise for us.
Yes, Clyde, this certainly isn't cut and dry. Just looking at the way the betting's been structured, I think Latuli's far too short in the market. I'll be the first to admit he was very impressive last time out. I mean, the money came for him. He was never in doubt, and he certainly caught the eye. But that race cut up quite a bit. He got things his own way up front, and it's not going to be as excuse me, Clyde, as easy this time around. But I'm not ruling out his chances. I just think he's too short in the market. Strictly looking at the Lady Sansa form line. Now, Lady Sansa, they finished 1.2 lengths behind and 1.5 lengths behind himself and Follow My Path. Now, Follow My Path has only got a neck to make up on Latuli. And listen to this, Clyde. He's 8 kilograms better off for a neck. And Follow My Path was priced up in the region of 14-1. Now, I'm not saying I like Follow My Path because I think he's got his issues and he goes down to the start terribly. I actually sometimes wonder to myself if they're going to scratch him at the start. So if you do like his chances, all I can say is just he moves down to the start in that manner. So don't let it put you off. If you see him striding out, Clyde, I'd certainly sit up and take notice and give him a big shot. But I do think he has his issues. Now, Jet Dynasty and Royal Mazarin have met on the Future Wolf run. There's not much separating the two on paper. Royal Mazarin improved because that was his first run as a gelding. And Jet Dynasty, I think, will progress further. We know that Gavin gets a great tune out of him. That must have been one of the rides of the month or whatever, Clyde, when he got up to beat Mo the Man. So Gavin knows the son of Dynasty extremely well. He's likely raced, and I could certainly see him notching up another victory. Then you've got horses like Mambo Camtesio, who's an improving staying type. I'm certainly not ruling him out. And Breeze Over was slightly disappointing last time out. I actually thought he had a bit of ability. So let's see if he can bounce back. So like you say, this is a tricky event.
Yeah, it sounded like spaghetti. Let's go and have a look. All right, that put it into the story. What we're doing here, race 5, it's another jackpot. Darren Burrows has worked out, and he's gone with a few horses in the first leg, a few horses in the second leg. The third leg of the jackpot, his plan ultimately is to bank a Duke of Sussex. He says I think the track record on Duke of Sussex on this particular course, if I remember what he said to me, is unreal. So he's taking his chances with that later on, and then a lot of horses at the back. That's the plan for our second jackpot. On to race number 6 now. Let's take a look at what we're going to do in a race like this. It's a handicap fillies and mares, 2,400 meters. There are a whole lot of them with chances. 2 Angels Wishes, top of the boards at 18-10 for the Mowing stable. Brewers riding that. And then you've got the Van Zyl yard with Go Flitcherties at 7-2. Keegan DeMello's taken the ride in that. And then Bar and Buertus, I think he priced up third favourite Barmaid. There's also Chase Majan's riding at 7-2. But then, Daryl, after that, they've got double figures. So I'm wondering, is that where we ended it? Is it in the top three in the market or something else? Is there a lurker?
I think there could be a lurker in number 4, Wild Forever. Now, she's well held on her later start, Clyde, but I don't believe the inside track 1800 did her any favors. She was plodding on. A lot depends on the pace of here, because if they go a fair pace and number 2, Angel's Wish, can just settle and not over race like she did in her later start, I do believe she'll take some beating. Her later start, Clyde, was against much stronger. It was clearly her best effort today. She did pick up a penalty because she was under sufferance on that occasion, so she picked up 2.5 kgs. But from what we saw in her later start in this lineup, she just needs to settle and reproduce that effort, and she will take some beating. We all put a line through Go Flickerty's latest chances on the inside track of 1800. Darren and myself knew that that wasn't the race, well, in our opinion, wasn't the right race for her in that lineup. We thought she had her work cut out, and she wasn't disgraced. I think Keegan, if she can get her to the front, if he can get her to the front, she will certainly improve on her later start. The race doesn't stop there, Clyde. This filly, number 7, Pacific Express, she's clearly been disappointing recently, but I think she's at her best when she goes handy, if not leading. So I think with no weight to carry, only 53 or 53 to shoulder, music can get her into good position. She could reverse the form of several over here. Just don't know where the pace is coming from over here, Clyde. So that's the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant in making Angel's Wish a good thing. I just hope she settles in running, and we'll see a big run.
Yeah, my only reservation with Angel's Wish is that form line hasn't. She's the only one that hasn't run, and nothing else has won. That's the only problem. Go Flickerty's now going back over the ground, may well be the one to beat. But yeah, you're right. Interesting race. Let's move on. What have we got selections wise? There are a few in here that we need to consider, and Daryl's worked out a pick 3. He's got that up over there for you guys. You can take those numbers down. We've got 3 more races to go here on Waiter to Win. This is the race we move on to now, where Darren Burrows goes for Duke of Sussex. He was saying to me, Daryl, that this also, I think, has had eight wins. I think I haven't got it exactly in front of me, but 8 wins on the vaal, or at the vaal. I think 6 of them or something like that are on the classic, or 5 out of 6 on the vaal classic track, and that's why he's so keen. He calls this the classic track specialist, number 1, Duke of Sussex, and makes it quite hard to beat here, Daryl.
Clyde, I don't know if you recall, I made Duke of Sussex a good bet about 6 runs back, due to the fact that he was on the classic track, because he is at his best on this classic track, and he found Gaelic Tribe too good for him on that occasion. It was a real pity, but that form line is certainly holding up. My only reservation, Clyde, is he has gone up in the ratings, and a horse like this, he likes to be given a chance early. He likes to run at them, so he's going to have to do it the hard way, in that he's going to give weight and start to his opposition. He's certainly got the class to run them down, but it's not going to be an easy task. So I've got respect for him. I just think it's a hard task. You've got an ultra-consistent horse in Fast Love, who's got pace, who's got a good draw, who should really be there for nothing without having to exert too much energy. But he's also another one that's gone up in the ratings. You can see he got 2 kilograms for his second in KZN, behind Royal, Lord William. Baisuwe, Clyde. Have a look at his penultimate start when he ran behind Trident King. He beat Fast Love, and he's better off at the weights. So I think he should get the run of the race from 1 Storgate. He hopefully can just slot in behind Fast Love. And I do see Baisuwe running down Fast Love. So he's going to be my first pick. But Clyde, the race doesn't stop there. Tsar Bomber. I actually like the fact that this horse has been given some time off, because in my opinion, he was underachieving. I expected more from him. So I think he'll benefit from the from the short break, strengthen up. I'd like to see a more patient ride on him. He can turn it on. So current odds, I'm going to say base away each way, Clyde.
Okay, base away now gets the services base away of Samanga Kumalo. It's 7-1 the win, and you can double your money a place about number 6 base away. But Darren Burrows big on the 1 Duke of Sussex. And I'm beginning to wonder if this horse 5 Fateful Day hasn't got an outside chance here. All right, well, what's our plan in terms of the play? It's Duke of Sussex one way for Darren Burrows. We're on to the 8th and final now. It's a divided handicap at the 81 level. It's over 1,400 metres. It was never an easy race from the outset. The number 3, Quandary, tops the board. The Finzel yards have had a few favourites today, or prominent runners, so to speak, in the market. 33-10 is the price about number 3. 2, Millahue, 4-1. And number 1, Tazona, who's taking its chances, I see today. Daryl, 9-2. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't believe it, Clyde. To be honest, I just took it for granted that he's going to come out. But at this stage, he's lining up. I have to give the viewers that form updates. It was beaten 4.5 lengths by Lord Wiley over the weekend. Clyde, did you watch that race?
I did, and it should have won.
What happened?
Oh, well, it was slow and missed the break. It was last turning for home. It was slicing its way through the field. It would have won. That I can tell you.
Okay, so that trip to the KZN province, back a few days later, any concern to you?
Yeah, no, I think it would be, of course, concern. Interesting. I've seen it before. I saw Buddy Maroon do it a few times many years ago. It is an unusual attempt, but let's see. Tony must obviously feel confident that there wasn't much taken out of him, and he's taking his chances in a race like this. But I guess it does have an open look to it, doesn't it?
Yes, Clyde. Millahue, fair enough. Excuse me, Clyde, debut on the half veld. That was over a distance sharp of his best. If he doesn't find the 1450 still on the sharp side, he could feature. He's actually a nice sort. I think he's a type of handicapper that should pick up another 2 or 3 wins along the way. Quandary, I don't know if you recall this. This was Clyde. He sliced through the field like a hot knife through butter with Pierre Striker straight on. And then Caden Bro just got the better of Pierre on the line with Mescal. That form has clearly held up. Several winners from that form line. Got a tricky draw to overcome. I don't know how they're going to ride him, but if he gets lucky in running, you can certainly see him feature. Indus Knights, if I'm not mistaken, they're fitting him with blinkers, and I think he is at his best when he leads. So take note that Apprentice doesn't claim anymore. But he's a gutsy front runner. Then After Hours, Clyde, I don't know if I heard this or what the case is, but I believe John Foss is back with St. John Gray. And I do believe that St. John Gray yard is now a yard to follow. John Foss did extremely well for him in the past. I know this horse is under sufferance, but I believe he's a better horse over the 1450 from a 1 draw. He's going to run another honest race. I think this is possibly the hardest race on the day, Clyde. So I'm just going to say After Hours to finish in the money.
Okay, so you're looking for a bit of place money with After Hours here, number 12 on the card. And if that is the case, well, I can tell you that that's priced up at 2-1 times your money. So a place that is, of course, in the last race. But interesting because there are a few from some solid form lines here, and one has to pay respect to those. All right, what are we doing on the last? Let's see. We'll put it up. I think it is Daryl's After Hours. Yep, that's what he wants to suggest to run a place. Hopefully it can find the first 3 for us in the last race. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching Weighted to Win. Appreciate it, although in a different format today. We'll be back in our studio on Wednesday. Everything of the best.